Alright, welcome back to Sandwell, where we are talking all things mechanical, and today we are talking about, again, keeping your house nice and healthy. Alright, so it's the middle of winter and you just got back on a vacation from somewhere else and you think you might have got hit with the coronavirus or something else, who knows. But you want to know, how can I keep my family healthy after all that? And we're talking UV lights today. So UV lights are used in hotels, they're used in hospitals, they're used in all sorts of different places, and as of recently they've been starting to use them in airplanes to fight things like the coronavirus and things like that. They actually have UV lights in the bathrooms that whenever they're on occupancy sensors or door switches, that whenever nobody is in there, UV light will shine down and kill all the bacteria. The benefits to UV lights, is that essentially they kill bacteria, they kill germs, they stop viruses, they help remove VOCs from homes. So these are some of the benefits of having a UV light. Now, you will start to see a lot of hospitals not only using these in their main duct systems, but they have portable units that come around and I think they go through 15-minute cycles in each patient room or operating room, where it'll, blast UV through each, room, and it kills everything that maybe have been left behind by the cleaners. So there are some things to kind of take into consideration. One is, whenever I'm looking at the installation of a UV light, I want to have my UV light placed in a location where it's going to be the most beneficial. Okay. Now, all manufacturers are a little bit different as far as what they say, but the general consensus is put that UV light where it's going to do the most benefit. And I find that the best place for that is on top of our evaporator coil. See, our evaporator coil is generally where things are going to originate, because we've got all of the prime breeding grounds for molds, mildews, bacteria, viruses, germs, all that stuff. This is where it's going to want to grow, okay? Because it's dark, it's wet, and whenever we give mold food, it thrives, okay? I see it all the time whenever we're doing preventative maintenance checks. These things can get filthy, and they can get filthy fast. So I like to place them where that UV light can actually shine down on top of the whole surface area of that evaporator coil. That way we're getting the best benefit out of the unit. I also like to put them high, okay, so that not only are we hitting the UV lights across the entire evaporator coil itself, but there's a potential that we could send it down the main trunk lines as well. So that's why I like to put them here. This UV light here is made by Honeywell, and I've installed several of these in homes, hospitals, nursing homes, big one in nursing homes, restaurants, you name it. So I do like these because of the ease of operation, okay? These things require no more than just a simple receptacle, okay? They plug into a receptacle. Sometimes I've got to install one if you don't have electric right at your furnace or your air handler or whatever, but that's nothing. Aside from that, this thing's on. It's working. It's doing its job, okay? When it comes time to replace this thing, it's easy. We simply just turn this dial here, okay, and our entire bulb will slide out. This is a 14-inch bulb. And I will use these as often as I can because they are nice and big. I can affect as much of the duct surface area as I need to. So these work really well. I'm going to slide this thing back in here and click it, you're done. Okay, so now whenever this thing is on, I'm going to plug it in here really fast. Don't know if you'll be able to see, but whenever this thing is on, there's a little tiny indicator bulb here, which lets you know that it's running. Whenever that bulb burns out, that thing will shut off, you know, and it's time to replace the bulb. I want to say these things will probably go about 12 months. You might be able to go a little bit longer on depending on how it was installed. That's a big one that I find. Okay. Now, one thing to keep in consideration is the UV lights, we want to make sure that they're not shining down on any condensate drain pans that are not UV resistant, okay? It can cause the plastics in those to degrade. If you have rubber fittings, could potentially cause those to degrade as well. So check with your manufacturer to make sure that the pan that they have supplied inside that thing is actually going to withstand the UV ray. Also, these things do have a maximum temperature associated with them that they can operate in. This one happens to be 170 degrees, so as long as we're not hitting 170 degrees, we should be fine, and I highly doubt that we will in you know, a regular HVAC situation. So I'm going to spin this thing around. We're going to take a look at it from the back side and see what we've got here. So when we look at the back side of these, okay, you can see I've got it mounted nice and high up here, so it's getting down across the entire surface area of that coil. But also, since we are working with duct board, again, just like I had mentioned with the humidifiers, I like to put a big backer plate in here. This is a 9x9 square that I've drilled out to fit the center of the UV assembly, and it's screwed in there and it's secured, okay? So we won't have any issues. All right. So as you can see here, we've got the UV light on. Everything's nice and bright in here. But where I've got that thing placed in the ductwork, you can see that it is shining all the way down across the face of the entire evaporator coil here, okay? Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and got that thing shut off, and I get asked, okay, whenever we're starting to talk UV lights with customers, how does this thing work, okay? So UV lights, just like we've got here, the UV light that is emitted from the sun, they all kind of work the same. They, essentially, what they do, and the reason why I don't have this on, okay, I'm going to tell you. What they do is, whenever that UV light hits a DNA molecule, okay, you've got your 4 amino acids which make up your DNA strand. Now, a precursor to this is I did not go to you know, biology school, and I didn't study microbiology, and in fact I slept through most of it. So do your homework. But I do remember that you've got 4 amino acids which make up that DNA strand. Okay, now what happens whenever that UV light hits the DNA strand, okay, it causes your thymine molecules, okay, if they are beside each other on that DNA strand, what they'll actually do is they'll break apart from the rest of the DNA strand and they will come together, okay, it's called, it's a thymine dimer, and since it does not allow that DNA to reproduce, okay. So, whenever we're outside, the skin or the sun, the UV light is hitting our skin. Same type of thing is happening there. That's what we've got going inside here. So, whenever we've got bacteria flowing through our ductwork, or we've got bacteria, viruses, germs, whatever sitting on the evaporator coil, the UV light's hitting. It's causing those germs not to be able to reproduce. Okay, so you will, in essence, you'll have a nice clean evaporator coil, a nice clean airflow, and everything will be good to go there. So it works also, you know, like I said, viruses, germs, bacteria, funguses, molds, It does, you know, slightly affect VOCs. So if you're cooking, okay, or you've got, you know, I guess like cigarette smell or whatever, it can slightly help with that. Now it's not going to totally eliminate that. I like to, like I said, I like to put them up here in the supply stream as a last sort of cleaning. I want to capture as much as those other smells and you know, bigger issues I can in the air filtration system. So whether we're talking a high MER filter, electronic air cleaner, whatever, that's where I want to capture the most of that stuff. This is the last step in keeping your house nice and clean. So if you have any questions, feel free to give me a call. I'm always around. I'm going to try and keep these videos nice and short, but all right, we'll see you on the next one.